What is going on, everybody? Shwazy here, and in today's video we're going to be discussing 5 things that I love and 4 things I don't about the 2023 Chevy Colorado Trail Boss. Hey everyone, before we dive into today's video, I want to tell you about Octane Coffee Company. It is the car-themed coffee company with a variety of different roasts paired with iconic names. You've got Big Block, Race Gas, The Goat. It's perfect for early morning cars and coffee or cruises down the canyon. It is the coffee for all car enthusiasts. Pick up your bag at octanecoffeecompany.com, link is down below, and get 10% off your first order using promo code OCTANE10. Now back to the video. Now, if you guys haven't checked out my full comprehensive review of the Colorado Trail Boss, I recommend you check out that video for all of the specifications, the interior, the exterior, features, amenities, everything you need to know if you're considering buying one of these vehicles. Today's video is just talking about some of the highlights, the things I've enjoyed driving this vehicle, and the things that I think could be a little bit better. All right, so in no particular order, the first thing I really love about this vehicle has to do with its exterior styling. Now, this has been revised heavily for the 2023 model year because this is the 3rd generation of the Colorado, and this is the first year that the new styling has been released. And so this looks totally different than the outgoing 2022 model year, and it looks really good. The other one was getting a little bit long in the tooth, but this one has definitely refreshed the exterior and made it look much more menacing, much more aggressive, and definitely a strong competitor to the Toyota Tacoma, the Nissan Frontier, the Jeep Gladiator, and the Ford Ranger. First off, starting off with the front end, the Trail Boss comes with this big plastic front grille and bumper. And when I first saw this vehicle and reviewed it months ago, I was complaining about the fact that this is all hard touch plastic, but it's kind of grown on me, to be honest, and I think it matches the front end of this vehicle because that black with the blue looks really good, looks very menacing, and also this thing seems to be a little bit more durable than paint. You know, you get rock chips on the front end of every single vehicle, especially if you put some highway miles on this thing, and this thing is going to stand the test of time a little bit better. Also, it should be a little bit easier to replace. You don't have to color match it. You can just buy a different grille or front bumper and you're done. Also, I'm sure the aftermarket is going to have a variety of different styles and selections for the front end, so you can make your Trail Boss look specific to your style. Now, I also want to point out there's tons of different angles and shapes in this front grille. So you got the Trail Boss badge over here as well, and then different types of rivets and angles. I mean, it kind of adds to the front end appearance of this vehicle, making it a little bit more angular than just your standard pickup truck. And then down here at the bottom, you do have a little bit of an odd piece because it's painted gray, but it doesn't match the rest of the exterior color. And then you have your air dam here at the bottom that is removable and some recovery hooks. And then take a look at this hood. Look how many angles are on this hood with these big bulges on the left and right hand side, and then different angles that kind of sharpen up into the large bulge in the middle. I mean, very, very angular pickup truck, very similar to other Chevy and GMC products. Coming over to the side, you know, this Trail Boss is a little bit wider because you have these widened fender flares, but even without that, you have this sharp body line that extends all the way across this front fender and creates this little angular shape that extends onto the body line. I mean, the side of the vehicle has a lot going on to it, even though it is just a standard pickup truck. You would expect it to be a little bit more boring than it is. And then in the back over here, you've got this body line that extends all the way to the rear. Again, a similar symmetrical angular shape as you do in the front. And then you got the Trail Boss sticker back here, and your taillights are very similar to the Chevy Silverado, and definitely look pretty nice here in the back end. You've got Chevrolet, of course, embossed on the tailgate, and then even more angular shapes over here on the tailgate. So lots of different angles on the outside. It's very striking, very noticeable, and it looks different than a lot of the other pickup trucks on the road today. Now, while we're back here, the second thing I love about this vehicle is its innovative tailgate. So there's lots of things to talk about here. First off, it has the soft opening feature, and it's got the easy lift system where with one hand you can easily open and close this tailgate. Now, that's not a new feature for pickup trucks, but it's still nice that you have that on the new Colorado. Now, once this is open, you got a pretty cool design over here on the top, but the feature I want to talk about next is you have this measuring tape located all along the top end of the tailgate. It goes all the way up to 48 inches, and so if you're measuring some sheetrock or plywood, you can set it on the tailgate, measure, and then you can cut right along here as well. Now, the next pretty cool feature is you have lockable storage inside of the tailgate. So as you can see, there's this little ridge over here in the middle, and what you do is you actually pull on these little handles to unlock it, and then you simply pull up on one of these tabs on the left or right side and open up this pretty decently sized storage compartment. I've put some shoes back here, a little tripod, and this is waterproof storage. So it's actually got a watertight rubber seal around here, and it's also got a drain plug. So if you want to fill this up with some ice and some sodas and have an awesome tailgate where you have some cold drinks, well, at the end of the day, you can open up the drain plug and drain out all the liquid located inside of the storage compartment. This is something I've never before seen on any other vehicle. So Chevy was definitely innovating here with this new type of design for the tailgate, because at the end of the day, the extra 3 or 4 inches you have here are kind of wasted space. So it's cool that you have some lockable hidden storage compartments located inside of the Colorado. Now, there's another innovative feature about this tailgate, and that is its mid-rise tailgate. Let me show you what that looks like. So first, by lifting up this tailgate and wrapping the cable around this little ridge over here, you'll see that it actually holds this tailgate about halfway up. And then you'll do the same thing on the driver's side. And just like that, your tailgate is lifted up halfway. So what's the benefit here? Well, Chevy says this is pretty much the exact same plane as what you would find on the wheel wells. And so what that means is this slightly over 5-foot bed gets extended by about another foot, foot and a half, so you could fit 6 foot, 6.5 foot objects just laying on the top of this tailgate. And Chevy says you can support upwards of 500 pounds on this tailgate, so you could load some pretty heavy objects, strap them down, and that way you don't really need a full-size pickup truck if you're able to use the top of these wheel wells. That is another really innovative feature that I think the Ford Maverick has as well, but this is something that a lot of other mid-size pickup trucks do not. Now, the last thing I want to mention about this truck bed is Chevy says you can get upwards of 17 different tie-down points located inside of this truck bed, which I believe is a class leader. So there's plenty of spots where you can strap down bicycles or ATVs or whatever have you just in the back of the Colorado's truck bed. All right, the next feature I want to talk about is this vehicle's technology. So first off, let's start with this instrument gauge cluster display. Here we have an 8-inch all digital gauge cluster, and this is standard on every single Colorado trim level. You can get upwards of 11 inches, but 8 inches is as small as you can get. There's no analog display over here, and it's a pretty colorful screen. There's not too much functionality here, but by pushing some of the buttons located over here on the steering wheel, you can cycle through your trip information, your audio. You can also open up an off-road mode where it tells you your steering angle, whether you're in 4 high, 4 low, 4 auto, your pitch, roll. And like I said, it's a very colorful screen. Lots of different graphics here, look really good, very smooth, very nice to look at when you're driving down the road. Next up is this 11.3-inch touchscreen. Now, this is also standard on every single trim level. We're talking all the way from the work truck to the top of the line ZR2. They all come with this screen, and it comes with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto as standard. And Chevy always does a fantastic job with its software. I mean, look at how snappy the graphics are. Look at how quick it cycles through all the different menus. I mean, there's no lag here, there's no delay, and I honestly think it works a little bit better than some of the competition in this same segment. But there's also an added feature here because you've got Google connectivity built into this vehicle, so you can ask it things like you would your smart home device. Here's an example of that. Hey Google, what day is Thanksgiving?
In the United States of America, Thanksgiving will be on Thursday, November 23rd.
So it's just pretty cool and robust, and the fact that you can have this on the base work truck is really impressive. Also, you of course have Google Maps over here, which are very easy to use. You can also control your off-road modes here, which have really cool, colorful displays. I specifically like the terrain display where it shows like a 3D view of your Colorado, and then you have an overlanding menu where you can look at your direction of travel, your elevation. And then I like that when you switch through different drive modes using the selector, it comes up with this really beautiful graphical interface of not your specific Colorado, but definitely a Chevy Colorado going over different types of terrain. So lots of cool graphics and user interfaces on this 11.3-inch touchscreen. Okay, now the next thing I love about the Trail Boss really has to do with its off-road capabilities. And this is something I took for granted until I took this vehicle off-road and was very impressed with its capabilities. Now, first off, every Trail Boss comes with a 2-inch factory lift. So this is automatically taller than pretty much all the other Colorados except for the top of the line off-road trim level, which is the ZR2. Next up, you also get these wider fender flares. So the vehicle is also wider than your standard Colorado. You also get a 2-speed transfer case with a locking rear differential. Now, it's not electronically locking where you push the button and it locks the rear end. It actually is an automatic G80 locking differential, which means as soon as it senses some slip, it will automatically lock the rear axles, giving you better traction. You also get an additional 1.5 inches of front and 1 inch of rear suspension travel compared to the regular Colorado. You get 9.5 inches of ground clearance. You can also get this option with a front and mid skid plate, and it comes with 4 different drive modes on the inside. And I'll speak with firsthand experience taking this vehicle on some pretty light off-roading. This thing is actually really capable. I took it on the same trails I've taken my Ford Bronco on, and I can't say this thing did any worse. I love the fact that with that additional ground clearance, I wasn't afraid of taking it over some pretty steep hills that normally in any other pickup truck I probably would have scraped the underside, but in this thing I didn't. And this engine handled the uphill battles very easily, very seamlessly. I never felt like it was underpowered. It had plenty of torque when I needed it. And this also comes with the downhill cruise control, so you can set it at like 5 miles an hour and this thing will maintain that speed as you're going down a hill. This thing was also extremely comfortable off-road, softer than my Ford Bronco. It goes over washboard roads very easily. That rear suspension kind of glides over it. Even though it's got leaf springs, the shocks absorb the uneven pavement very well. And this is an overall very capable, very comfortable off-road pickup truck. The other thing I like about this is it is somewhat of a narrower vehicle. So when you're taking this off-road, you're not going to necessarily scrape it as often as like my Ford Bronco or a full-size pickup truck, because those things are kind of hard to maneuver off-road. They're very capable, but they're a lot of weight. They're very wide. They're very long. This thing is kind of the perfect size for an off-roader because it's somewhat narrow and it's not that long of a vehicle. Now, the fifth and last thing I love about the Chevy Colorado Trail Boss is its price. Pricing for the Trail Boss starts at $37,000 for pretty much everything I showed off in today's video. The one sitting behind me is about $41,000 because it includes a few more accessories like the power driver's seat. You also get cruise control included on this one. But all in all, $37,000 to $41,000 for this is pretty good. I mean, for an off-road vehicle that also is a pickup truck that's also got pretty good technology on the inside, it is kind of a good bargain. And it's really hard to find something that has this many features for that same price. So I think that's one of the reasons why the Trail Boss is really going to be a good seller. But at the same time, it's not for everybody. So now let's jump into the 4 things I kind of dislike about this truck. Now, the first thing I wish was a little bit better on the Trail Boss is the list of options that are available on the Trail Boss. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So first off, all Trail Boss trim levels come with halogen headlamps and incandescent turn signals. Now, personally, I'm an LED lights type of guy. I love LED lights, I love lighting. And so if I was purchasing a Trail Boss, I would have personally preferred to have this come with LED lights. Well, you may be saying, okay, you can option for that if you're going to build your Trail Boss, but unfortunately, you actually can't. LED headlights are not an option on the Trail Boss trim level. And there are a couple other features that I'm going to be bringing up that also aren't even an option on the Trail Boss. So even if you want to spend the money to get them, you actually can't. Chevy makes you either go up to the Z71, which is kind of the luxurious version of the Colorado, or if you want to keep the off-road goodies, you're going to have to go all the way up to the ZR2, which is upwards of $10,000 more expensive in starting price than this Trail Boss trim level. Now, the next feature that the Trail Boss doesn't come with is keyless entry. I'm talking if you lock the vehicle, keep the key in your pocket, and simply touch the door handle, you cannot unlock the pickup truck. Now, that is not even an option on the Trail Boss. You can't even get it if you pay extra money for it. And that's a little bit unfortunate because even some of the most basic cars nowadays have keyless entry. And it's a little bit old to have to pull the key out and actually unlock the pickup truck. What's odd is you still have push button start. So this vehicle knows if the key is actually located inside of the cabin or not. It just doesn't have the option for keyless entry. Next up, if you were hoping to get heated seats or a heated steering wheel because you live in a colder climate, again, that's not even an option on the Trail Boss. You're going to have to select the higher trim levels. Also, if you want a wireless charging pad, also, that is not an option on the Trail Boss. Even though this looks like it could be a wireless charging pad, this is just a little camo storage compartment. There's no wireless charging pad option on the Trail Boss either. Also, if you're wanting to get a sunroof in your Trail Boss, well, you can't because that's not even an option either. Jumping into the second row, even though you have rear air vents, you can't actually get a rear center arm console. So you're only going to get this middle seat, but there is no retractable option for like a cup holder or anything like that. The cup holders are integrated in the top of the air vents and over here on the door panel. And lastly, even though you can get cruise control on your Trail Boss, this particular vehicle that I'm sitting in does have it. This is not a standard feature. You have to actually option for cruise control. And I'm not talking fancy adaptive cruise control. I'm talking regular run-of-the-mill cruise control is an option on the 2023 Trail Boss. All right, now the next thing I don't really like about this vehicle is the use of some of the material. So first off, you got a lot of hard touch plastic here. Now I get that this is the affordable or budget-friendly off-roader. And for that reason, it's not gonna have the most premium materials on the inside because then it's gonna cost $10,000 to $15,000 more. But my argument is I wish they used a little bit different textures and colors to spice up the interior. Just because it's plastic doesn't mean it has to look the way it does. And so I don't like the fact that even this little trim piece, even though it's a little bit of a different texture, I wish it was a different color entirely. I wish some of this exterior blue color or, you know, maybe some other theme colors were used on the inside to spice up the interior styling. Because other than that, it's kind of a sea of black plastic. I mean, take a look at this dashboard over here. All of this is hard touch plastic. All of it's black. Even down here, it almost looks like this might be a slightly different texture or material, but it looks too similar to the plastic located on top of the dash. And it again just looks like a bunch of black plastic. I wish this was the same color as the exterior, or maybe if they just made the Trail Boss have a specific theme color, they could have used that around the air vents, maybe on the door paneling over here, something to make the interior look different than all of the other trim levels. I mean, even the steering wheel is plastic. You can't even get it leather wrapped. And down here, the only place where it looks a little bit different is this fake aluminum trim and a little bit more of this textured material that again is pretty much hard touch black plastic, and this piano black plastic over here. I mean, this camo would have been fantastic maybe over here on the dashboard or on the door panel, because the only part it's located is over here in the grab handle section. And then even the seats are just black and gray. There's no camo option over here. And just those little things that spice up the interior that don't really cost the manufacturer much more money is what I would have preferred to see on the interior of this truck. And the second row is no exception to that. Same hard touch materials here, same rubberized hard touch material for the armrest, and then coming inside, same gray black leather seats, and then same hard touch plastic over here. I will say I am glad they've included 2 rear air vents back here because not every manufacturer will do that. Now the next feature I wish was a little bit better is the 6-speaker audio system. Again, that has to do with the fact that this vehicle is the budget version of the Colorado ZR2, but it still kind of leaves a little bit to be desired. There's only 6 speakers. There's 2 over here on the dash, 2 on the doors, and then 2 over here in the back doors as well. And it's okay. Because of the fact that you have 4 speakers in the front row, the sound tends to be very biased towards the dashboard. So it's kind of hard to feel like you're getting surround sound, and the quality of the audio itself isn't that great. Now, I'm not an audiophile by any means, but even I noticed that it's a little bit on the poorer side. But let me play a clip and show you what it sounds like. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not terrible, but it could be a little bit better. It also requires you to turn the volume up quite a bit to be able to get the loudness that you might be used to in other vehicles that have more speakers. I kind of wish they included a couple speakers underneath the rear seats, or even have it as an option that you can purchase on your Trail Boss without having to step up to the next trim level. Now, the next feature I dislike about this vehicle is its emergency alert system. So you might be able to see there's about 6 different LED lights that are flashing on the windshield. And that's actually coming from over here on the dashboard itself, but that is the emergency alert system. And what that does is, if this vehicle feels that you're about to crash into the car in front of you, then it's gonna flash this red light and also make an audible sound on the interior to ensure that you're alert and you're paying attention and you're gonna slam on the brakes. And then if you don't, then this vehicle comes with emergency braking and it will automatically apply the brakes if it feels like a crash is imminent. That is great and all. The problem is it's an overly sensitive system. I mean, driving this car for the past week, it's probably gone off about a dozen times in instances that it probably should have never gone off on. I'm talking people merging in front of me and going maybe 5 miles slower than I was going on the freeway. this vehicle automatically assumed I was gonna get in a car accident and it started flashing that red light indicator. Also, when I'm accelerating and the vehicle in front of me isn't, but I'm kind of close to that car, it's gonna again flash that red indicator, letting me know I might be in an accident. And it's a pretty obnoxious system overall. I've witnessed it with passengers in the vehicle where they've even noted that this car was nowhere near crashing into the vehicle in front of me, but yet this alert or this indicator continues to go off. And it gets a little bit annoying. Now, you may be saying, well, why can't you just shut it off in the infotainment screen? Well, you can't really shut it off without shutting off your emergency braking. So if you go into your vehicle settings and you go into your collision detection systems, there is an option for automatic emergency braking, and there's either off, alert, or alert and brake. Now, personally, I want this vehicle to brake if it thinks I'm actually gonna get into a car accident. But there is no feature to have just the brake only option. I have to have the alert option on as well. So if I shut this feature off and I perhaps get into a situation where I do need this car to brake because somebody cuts me off and I don't have enough time to brake, or maybe I'm not paying attention, then it's not going to work. And I've experienced this same alert system in other Chevy products, and it never has been as sensitive as it is in the Colorado. So that is something I wish they would improve. I wish there was a way to just shut off the alert but keep the braking on, or at least adjust the sensitivity, because currently as it sits, it is extremely sensitive. Well, there you have it, folks. That was 5 things I love and 4 things I wish were a little bit better on the 2023 Chevy Colorado Trail Boss. Overall, I've actually been pretty impressed with this vehicle. I had my doubts, I had my concerns with some of the features or lack thereof, but overall, with my week of driving this car, I've been impressed with it. It also is very capable off-road, and it's kind of hard to find one with a similar price point to this that has this much capability. But what are your thoughts on the Chevy Colorado? Would you take this over some of the competition, and why? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Also, if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for all of the weekly videos. Also, check me out on all the social media at Schwazy_. Until next time, everybody, I hope you stay Schwazy, stay healthy, have a wonderful day.